Hello everyone, and in today's video I will show you how I made this. Alright, so I will go through how I did this. So first of all, I started with this curve. Let me just move around, turn on the points, and turn off the lighting, and it'll make it easier to see. So if you go in wireframe mode, you won't see this face. The face won't really matter later on. So what this is actually based on a knot, um, using from the idea of knot theory. And so all I did is just draw a curve and just kind of followed that, fused the ends together, and then I resampled it. And this was the curve I get. So it's just kind of a it's just a little curve. And then I am grouping the edges that are crossing over the different parts. So the part that I want to be on top to actually form the knot properly, I just add to a group, and then I am going to move them up using a transform node. And the group name is just group 1. Probably should name it something better, but it's fine. And then next I'm going to use a subdivision curve resample node. So this just adds more points and smooths the curve out. And it gets this like nice wavy thing. And it'll make more sense in a second why I'm doing it like that. And then I add this poly wire. And that just turns it into a actual mesh. So it's more of like a tube/cylinder, and that's why I gave so much room on top and bottom, is so that it will make sure it won't collide, and I have some room to adjust the wire radius. Next, since I'm gonna do simulation, I'm gonna do a kind of FEM simulation with Vellum because it's pretty quick, much faster than using the other method of using FEM using these tools. So first you have to add a tet conform. It's important to make sure that your mesh isn't self-intersecting, or when you use the tet conform it'll act really weird. Then I just cache it out, just like as a little checkpoint. And then next is Vellum tetrahedral constraint. So this will turn it into the actual this will create all the constraints that Vellum needs to actually use this as like an FEM. Then I kind of just move it around using the Vellum Brush. So Vellum Brush is basically an interactive brushing and manipulation of a Vellum object. Next, after that, I add some constraints, and I'm just selecting some points on corners that I want to just keep in place. And so what I do is you create a Vellum constraint, you change it to pin to target, and then you can change the group type, but I just set it to primitives. Then if you click this little button, you can select geometry from viewport, and that's how I got these little selections. You don't have to use it in this exact same place. That's just what I chose because I thought it would look nice. Next, I placed down a Vellum Solver, and the only things that I changed in here is I changed velocity damping, not very much. Let's see, it's 0.029. Before it was none, but yeah, this kind of makes it so the very jerky motion gets smoothed out. The other thing that I did is lower the constraint iterations from 100 down to 20, but then I increased the substeps up to 4, and that gives an overall better look, and it'll allow the mesh not to go through itself, because that can be an issue if there's not enough overall iterations. Next, after I simulate it or have it in the Vellum Solver, I convert the tetrahedrons back to polygons So there's less polygons in the scene. It will just be a little bit faster that way. And then I use a poly extrude, and that is simply adding some width to it because I wanted it to be similar to like a latex kind of tube that you would see on like one of those like exercise bands or something like that. That was mostly for shading purposes. There's not you don't really need to do that. I just used it because I thought it looked good in my case. I just deleted the groups because I didn't need them anymore, and then I file cached it out, and now I'm just loading it from disk. And that is all I did to actually get the animation, and that is the result. And I thought it was kind of interesting to look at it because it's interesting to see how these different kind of knots fall, since they are knots that are unremovable without tearing or cutting the rope. For the next part, I will show you rendering, and you can use Redshift, Octane, whatever. In this case, I'm using Redshift. And so for this, I just set it to plastic, changed the diffuse color to this kind of skin, almost latex color, added some backlighting translucency. I just kind of liked how it looked, pretty much free, just winging it. Made it really rough, but still wanted some reflection. And then added a little bit of subsurface scattering, again with this like orange color. And besides that, I just have a background color and some lights. And that is how I got this final result. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you liked the video, then like it. If you didn't, then dislike it. And have a nice day.